Right, in today's video, we're going to factorize x squared plus 2x minus 3 using the completing the square concept. Alright, let's start by doing it. Alright, so to do that, step number 1 is to zoom into the coefficients of x, which is a positive 2. So the coefficients of x is positive 2. So what do? I just need to add basically the coefficients of x, which is positive 2, divide by 2, square it. Alright, so when you add you can't change the question. So when you add something, you basically just have to take it away. Right, so after doing that, you will see that these three terms will collapse into your completed square form, which is x plus 1. Where do I get a plus 1? Basically, the plus 1 is just from this term here. Okay, positive 2 divided by 2 will give you plus 1. That explains how you get the plus 1 there. And the last two terms here, you can just use a calculator to evaluate. Okay, so however, when you use a calculator, be very careful. Just make sure you key the negative. So it's negative, okay, negative bracket 2 over 2, close bracket square minus 3, and then you will, from your calculator, you will see that it's negative 4 is the answer. So that is part 1, pretty easy. So part 2, okay, if you look back to the question, it says hence. When you say hence, means you have to make use of the answer you got from part A. So the answer we have here is x plus 1 to the power of 2 minus 4. We're going to solve it. Right, so how do we solve it? Alright, so we're going to add 4 to both sides. Okay, right, and then if you were, so they're okay, when you square something, right, you just recall that when you square something, let's say if you have a squared equals to 9, right, so possible values for a could be 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, right, so how do you get 3? Just basically square root 9, but the values for a can also be negative 3, because negative 3 times negative 3 also gives you 9, hence, okay, there are two possible answers when you solve this kind of question. When you solve this kind of question, there are two possible answers. One is 2, okay, one is a positive 2 or negative 2, okay, because 2 times 2 gives you 4, negative 2 times 2 also gives you 4. And how do you get 2? 2 is just basically square root 4, okay, right, so you minus 1 on both sides, so you get x equals to 2 minus 1 gives you 1 answer. Second answer, again also minus 1 on both sides gives you negative 2 minus 1 gives you negative 3. So you can just do a check by substituting the values of x into this equation here. Okay, so when you substitute x equals to 1, right, substitute x equals to 1, you will see that you have 1 plus 1 squared, and 1 plus 1 is 2, so 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Okay, so it satisfies the answer on the right hand side. So likewise also, when you substitute x equals to negative 3 into the original equation here, you have negative 3 plus 1 to the power 2, negative 2 to the power 2. So negative 2 times negative also gives you 4. Okay, that's the reason why you have two values here, one positive 2 and one negative 2.